TW Wrestling Talk here, part 3 of this edition. This week's edition, last of January. Um, Coming off the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, a decent episode of Monday Night Raw featuring the return of Brock Lesnar, who tongue twister there. Um, we are now going to shift our focus onto some, you know, not as big of names, but guys that hopefully maybe can be made into big names. Um, first guy I'm going to talk about is Dolph Ziggler. You know, holding the Money in the Bank briefcase for quite some time now, half a year, um, and a couple weeks. I personally am waiting in anticipation to see him cash in. Um, Although there's a couple things I think they need to change about the direction of Dolph Ziggler. And first and foremost, I think they need to get AJ, I think, away from him, and they need to have him on his own. Biggie Langston, I don't think I think Biggie Langston should be on his own. And I've said this before. AJ, I think why don't they have her like be it's down the road maybe a little bit, or whenever, be like a manager of Team Hell No. I mean, she kind of already had like a connection with them earlier. See where that goes. I bet that could make it interesting, make them, you know, more interesting. Maybe extend their time as a tag team together, and just get Biggie Langston on his own. But the bottom line is, I think Ziggler needs to be on his own to flourish more. On the mic, um, I just think these other people around him that don't, it's not going to help him in the long run. And I think for the time being, I want to see Ziggler on his own. Take because he never really has been for quite some time now. He had Vicky Guerrero, and then he went right to being with AJ and now Biggie Langston. So he hasn't really had time on when he's on his own, flying solo to, for us to really see what he's got on his own, how he can deliver. Um, maybe they'll end up turning. Maybe he could benefit from a face turn too. I'm not totally sure how his heel gimmick is gonna play out as champion. Whether or not he's just gonna be another, kind of upper mid card guy that isn't totally gonna get over with the gimmick and with his allies. So I just have some of those potential concerns with him, and what lately they've in recent past couple months I think they've kind of buried him under John Cena. People say what they want. I know I use that B word there, but that's to me that's what they've done with him lately, and I'm just not. I haven't been feeling Dolph Ziggler for a little while now. Since Survivor Series, I haven't been feeling um great, about the future of Dolph Ziggler. And it's what they've done, I think, since you know that Survivor Series win that he was, a big part of. I just haven't been feeling it so much with him. So I don't know if things will change. But I think I pointed out a couple good things they could do to help him. So that's the bottom line there. Um, Further, going through a couple more guys here. The Miz has been another one I've been talking about. That they gotta do something more with him. And having him in a feud with the United States champion, having him lose to the United States champion, I'm just not totally, big on. Cesaro is another guy that I think has potential, but I think right now, you know, the Miz should not be losing to him. He should not be, you know, inferior in that mid card level. Especially when you could have easily used him in the to become world heavyweight champion in that scenario, but they had to go with Del Rio, which will forever confuse me as to why. But as far as the Miz is concerned, hopefully they'll get get him into something relevant at WrestleMania. Um, you know, I've talked about this before. Um, Let me just break it down again. The Miz as a heel in the main event picture, it just wasn't working. I don't think it worked. I think it was a failure. I think many could agree with me. He was this weird kind of cheap heel that just it didn't get over. He had that mad stare that just kind of like reminded you of like a 12-year-old in in sixth grade kind of thing. Like, it just could not take him seriously as a main event heel, as WWE champion when he was. So it didn't work there. But they gave his career, I think, potential for new life when they turned him face. Um, all they just got to do now, which they haven't yet done, is push him up to the main event level. And I thought that's what they were going to do at Survivor Series when they put him on the cover of the pay per view. And then all he really did was, during that pay per view, was, have like a 2-minute run of momentum and then get pinned, not long after that. I mean, it's I don't know what they were thinking there, but that's what they ended up doing. And they had a lot of people fooled, I think. Um, had me fooled. So to me, that seemed like a waste there. And since then, they've had him do plenty of Miz TV segments. Not as much in the past month, but December was loaded with them. Um, but now this time, now it seems like they're trying to use him as like a half United States Championship feuder with Cesaro, and I don't totally agree with that. Like like I've said, we need to see what he's got as a main event face. We need to see at least what he has, you know, in that level. I'm not saying, slap the WWE or World Heavyweight Championship around him tomorrow. I'm just saying let's see what he's got against more credible opponents. Um, and that might have been a chance, where they could have used the Miz rather than Alberto Del Rio against the Big Show. Even if Miz were not to win the championship from Big Show, it would be interesting to see what he would do in that scenario. A lot more interesting than what we see from Del Rio in that situation, in that storyline right now. So that's all I gotta say there. I mean, let's see what he's got as a main event player, and I'm hoping they'll do that this year, and he could really get on a roll of momentum, and he could, you know, deserve the WWE or World Heavyweight Championship down the road. So, but and as a result, he could be a future big star here in WWE. Um, WWE just it needs to start taking steps towards finding that out. Because a guy like Del Rio, for instance, you know, they're putting they're trying to put a square peg in a round hole, and it's not working. I don't see how they don't realize that that's not working. Another guy, Wade Barrett. I've said his name before as well in recent months. They brought him back later, last year, from injury, and it's like his career just totally restarted. And here now he's Intercontinental Champion, only to lose to a newcomer last night on Raw, kind of surprisingly. I have mixed feelings on that. Um, I understand that WWE's trying to get new talent in, um, but it seems like they're trying to one after the other. A couple, build, see what you have though in guys like Wade Barrett first before you, bring in new guys and kind of put them over. Have that, have Wade Barrett put a guy like that over or whatnot. I'm just not totally in favor of it. At this point, looking forward, because chances are slim that they have Wade Barrett drop the Intercontinental title to him, um, not get it back, and then they start pushing him to the main event level. I just don't have that kind of faith in WWE. Unfortunately, I would like to, but I don't. They given their track record, so they I want to see. I'd love to see something like that happen where you know they just they try see what they have with Wade Barrett as a potential main event star and future main event player in this company. Um, that's what I thought when they brought him back. They could have maybe turned him face, see what could do as a face. Maybe that's where the Orton heel turn could have taken place. They could have worked something out there, and who knows? Wade Barrett could be a bigger name right now than he is. But it's not. It hasn't happened. Um, in the words of Andy Reid, no, didn't happen. Um, so that's another guy. I want to see what they have with him. Um, in this year, I don't want to see him continue to be relegated in the mid card the rest of the year, while they you know can try to convince themselves that Alberto Del Rio is such a big main event star that he deserves to be a 3-time world champion in such a short span um, of unproven nothingness to me. So um, another guy, I'm trying to think. Damien Sandow, I think, is a guy. He has some potential there. Um, I like what they do with him. His style is promoing. His kind of your welcome whole gimmick he's got going on. It's good for now, but it's not totally at the level he performs uses that gimmick. It's not. I don't see it as making him a huge star um, down the road. In the long run. I think minor tweaks. Um, if there can be some more seriousness, I think in his gimmick at times. If down the road they can try to implement some more like legitimacy and more you know a less generic move set. Some more deadly moves. Um, then I can see more there with him in the long. I like him. I like his mid card role. No question. But it's not going to totally get him over as a main event superstar anytime soon. So I think with some minor gimmick refinements, um, you know, they can inject some more legitimacy and seriousness into him, while maybe keeping some of that original character that he has. I think that could perhaps make him work more efficiently in the WWE in the future as a main event player. WWE, who knows what they see him as though. They may only see him as a mid card for life. So we don't totally know yet. We don't know if they'll ever, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if they try to make changes to him down the road, if they want to see him perhaps succeed as a main event superstar. And Antonio Cesaro is another guy as well that I kind of see sort of in the same boat. um, as Cesaro or as Damien Sandow, just in a different fashion. You know, his gimmick isn't quite as comedy oriented, but I think he too would need some more like seriousness and legitimacy injected into some of his promos. I think maybe um, his promo to begin with, he hasn't been a big promo guy thus far. Um, so that we would have to wait and see. But his move set, I like his moves. His some often unpredictable move set. Some of the things he comes up with. His clothesline, or I'm sorry, his uppercut where he just kind of throws the guy up, and when he comes down uppercut. That's interesting to me. His finishing maneuvers decent. Um, his move set is he can wrestle, and I like that. He shows a lot in the ring, I think. So some gimmick refinements, and maybe some if he shows us some good stuff in on the mic down the road, then he may have potential, certainly. And I think WWE is intent on him, building him, as they've had him for as U.S. champion for a decent amount of time, and I think they will continue his reign, for at least past WrestleMania. So it'll be interesting to see when he would finally lose it, what they would do with him from there. So yeah, that's just a list of 5 guys. I may, there may be more that I cover coming up sometime, um, when I have time. But for now, those are some guys I wanted to shed some light on how I think WWE can improve these guys. Because I think in one way or another, they all have potential. It's just a matter of WWE taking the right steps to maximize that potential for each of them. So, this year it'll be interesting to see if WWE takes those steps to do so, as it would definitely pay off in an era where they need to build new stars. Um, have a wide array of these guys. That's that's what they got to do. They gotta find they gotta take steps to find these guys, and effectively build new stars, that'll be in the main event picture for the future. So that'll wrap it up with this week's edition of TW Wrestling Talk. Um, Although you never know when I may drop another video in, every now and then after SmackDown, in between, over the weekend, in between that next episode of Monday Night Raw. You never know when another TW Wrestling Talk um, segment will pop up. So just stay tuned as always for whenever that may be. And thanks for listening as always. And I appreciate any feedback. I'd love to hear from you. Anything you'd like me to discuss, I would gladly discuss here, on TW Wrestling Talk. So send me anything you'd like. And thanks for watching and supporting TW Wrestling Talk as always.